So my idea was it was completely wrong, but I never bothered asking anyone because I wasn't very interested. I didn't have any reason to go out and seek another religion because I was happy with who I was. Nothing was wrong in my life. Everything was great. Until high school, 17 years old, I think it was junior year in high school, I actually met a young Muslimah. And I had had Muslim friends at that time, but none of them were really practicing in front of me. I never really saw what Islam actually was. So when I met this young Muslimah, she was also not what I would say very practicing. I didn't really see any actions of Muslims. I didn't really see what Islam was all about. But this person had a significant impact on me. We developed a close friendship. And after some time, I noticed that there were things with her that were uncomfortable, what I would consider to be normal among teenagers. For example, in high school, a lot of people go to prom or a school dance. And for her, that was something that was very, I could tell that there was a lot of worry or a lot of difficulty. And I didn't really know why. I didn't ask. I thought it had something to do with culture. And eventually, after some months of this friendship, I noticed that she decided that something wasn't right and she didn't want to be as close friends anymore. And this got me thinking. I was wondering, was it cultural? Was it who I am? Is it because I'm white? I don't know what's going on, you know? I thought we were good friends. But I knew that it had to be something religious. And for the first time in my life, I decided to ask, what was that? What is Islam? I never knew anything about it. And so, from there, shortly after, I decided to start looking into the Quran. I bought a translation on my parents' money. I went over to Barnes & Noble with their credit card, got a copy of the Quran, checked the internet, and like any person who doesn't know anything, they got Islam for Dummies. I actually have the book sitting on my shelf at home, which is actually not a bad resource. So I started learning more about Islam, and I came to know a world that was not what I expected. I started learning about the pillars of Islam, which aren't as intuitive to a person. So when someone who is not part of a faith is learning about that faith, the aspects and the importance of salat isn't something that comes to a person where they would say, yeah, that makes sense, that we should be doing that. What made sense to me were the theological and moral teachings of Islam. That I was raised to believe the first commandment that's in the Bible, which is, the Lord your God is one, which is, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. So these aspects I kept reading and saying, this is me. This is what I've already believed in my entire life. I also was reading about the Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, and how it says he is just a prophet. He is one of the best men that's ever walked this earth, but he's just a prophet. He's not God. And this resonated with me. This is what I would say to myself, I already believe this. Because as a Christian, I wasn't very into it, but what I really believed was God. It was fitra. I'd always believed in God. Recently, my mom and I were cleaning out the upstairs of our house, and I found a yearbook from preschool in which our teacher compiled random pieces of our lives at that time, and it said there was a conversation between me and my friends at the time, and we were talking about God. And so I know that as a young kid, even in preschool, I believed in God. I continued my learning. I even walked into a Walgreens and saw a woman in hijab, and I approached her, and she asked if I needed help. I said, yeah, can you tell me where the nearest mosque is? And she just looked at me and, yeah, sure, yeah. And so eventually I made my way to the masjid, asked questions, learned more about Islam, and came to the realization, this is already who I am. I've already believed this for my entire life. I just didn't know what it was called, and I'd never seen it before. So eventually I made my way. After a few months of practicing, I stopped eating pork, things like that, minor practices. I told myself it's time to accept Islam, and I accepted Islam, alhamdulillah, in 2008, right after Ramadan.